When you actively insult, attack, and berate your audience, however, they will turn you off.
Like, leave these stories alone. If she, by the way, if she never opened her mouth and she didn't do all this nonsense, people would have gone and watched the movie.
Disney's live-action remake of Snow White is officially one of the biggest flops in Hollywood history.
Rachel Zegler's Snow White bombed so badly, even animation studios are mocking it. Now, she might need therapy. It's not just random people making fun of it. Full cartoon studios are taking shots at the film, one after another. Disney took a big risk with Snow White. They cast Zegler, they cut out the prince, they tried to make the story modern, but fans didn't like it. The movie lost hundreds of millions of dollars, while cartoon shows lined up to make fun of it. The trouble began even before the movie came out. Zegler gave interviews saying she didn't like the original Snow White story.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
She said the prince was weird and stalking Snow White. She also said her version wouldn't need a prince to save her.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
Fans of the classic tale got angry right away. They wondered why Disney would hire someone who didn't seem to like the original story. Disney spent over a year defending their choices. They said the new Snow White would be strong and independent in ways the 1937 version wasn't, but this made fans even more upset. Many people already loved Snow White exactly how she was. Kind, gentle, and hopeful even in tough times. They didn't think these qualities made her weak or outdated. When the first photos from the set leaked online, things got worse. People noticed the 7 dwarves from the classic were gone. Instead, Disney had cast a mix of short and tall actors of different backgrounds. The company said this was more inclusive, but fans saw it as changing too much of what made Snow White special. Family Guy was first to mock Disney remakes. They made a joke about Walt Disney being brought back to life, then asking to die again after learning Disney still makes remakes. They also showed a Disney roller coaster going down with Disney stock written below it. Their best joke was when Peter Griffin keeps mixing up men for women and women for men on TV until he gets really confused. This made fun of how Hollywood keeps switching character genders in movies. The jokes hit hard because they pointed out something many fans felt. Disney wasn't just updating old stories, they were changing them completely. And Family Guy didn't just target Snow White, they made fun of how all Disney remakes seem to follow the same pattern. Take a beloved classic, remove the outdated parts, add modern messages that often feel forced. South Park went even harder with their Joining the Pandaverse special. They created a character like Kathleen Kennedy from Lucasfilm, who uses magic to ruin classic movies. They made fun of Disney's whole remake plan in a way that got people talking. The South Park episode didn't hold back at all. They showed how every classic story was being rewritten with the same formula. Classic male heroes were replaced by female versions, love stories were scrapped for empowerment plots, and any character who seemed too traditional was either removed or mocked within the story itself. What made South Park's take so powerful was how they connected Disney's Snow White problems to a bigger trend in Hollywood. They showed it wasn't just one bad movie, it was a whole approach to storytelling that wasn't working anymore. Then Daily Wire announced they would make their own Snow White movie. They promised it would follow the original story with no gender swaps and no political messages. Their announcement got millions of views, showing many people want simple classic stories again. Daily Wire is known for making content with traditional values. Their Snow White project was a direct challenge to Disney. The announcement trailer featured clips of classic fairy tales, while a narrator talked about timeless stories that shouldn't be changed. Within days, the trailer had more views than Disney's official Snow White teasers. Brett Cooper, a popular online host, was first announced to play Snow White in their version, but she later left the project quietly. Even with this setback, the huge positive response to just the idea of a traditional Snow White showed Disney had misjudged what many viewers wanted. A YouTube channel called Beanie Bros made a 60-second Snow White video that got over 9 million views. They showed Snow White as rude and angry, lecturing the prince about being too privileged. The funny part? This is exactly what the new Disney version was trying to do. The Beanie Bros parody was short but devastating. It showed Snow White yelling at the prince for having white savior complex when he tried to help her. She told him to check his privilege and said she didn't need a man to save her. The animation was simple, but the message was clear. This approach to Snow White doesn't work, even as a joke.
Your curtain. Please allow me to help.
Help? From you? Spare me your white savior complex. I don't need anything from someone like you.
I didn't mean to offend. I just thought you should know that
That I should know what? That some privileged white guy thinks his opinion matters? Get over your entitlement. I'm not some damsel in distress waiting for you to ride in on your high horse. Seriously, go away, stalker. You're weird. Weird.
People in the comments said this isn't even a joke, it's just what Disney is actually making. That shows how far Disney has gone from what fans want. The comments section under the video became a place for fans to share their frustration. Many wrote that they felt Disney wasn't listening to what families and longtime fans actually wanted. Others pointed out that strong female characters have always existed in Disney movies without having to tear down male characters or mock love stories. But one cartoon hasn't attacked yet, The Simpsons. This would be a big deal because Disney owns The Simpsons. If they make fun of Snow White, it would mean even Disney's own shows think the remake was bad. The Simpsons has a long history of making fun of big companies, including Disney, even before Disney bought Fox and became their owner. In recent seasons, they've made subtle jokes about Marvel movies getting repetitive and Star Wars losing its way, but they haven't directly tackled the Snow White controversy yet. If they do, it would be a major blow to Disney's image. Imagine the company's own cartoon show publicly joking about how bad their movies have gotten. That would send a message not just to fans, but to investors and Hollywood insiders that even within Disney, there's awareness that something is wrong with their current approach. The money problems are real. Snow White made only $184 million, but cost around $250 million to make. Disney has lost about $900 million on similar movies recently. They're even stopping work on their Tangled remake because of how badly Snow White did. The financial damage goes beyond just one movie. Disney's stock prices dropped over the past year as more of their big-budget films have underperformed. Analysts point to a pattern. The more a Disney remake changes the original story, the less money it tends to make. Some of Disney's earlier remakes, like 2015's Cinderella and 2016's The Jungle Book, were huge hits. These films stayed pretty close to the originals while updating the visuals. But as Disney started making bigger changes to classic stories, the box office results got worse. Their Mulan remake removed the beloved dragon Mushu and the songs, and it struggled. Their Little Mermaid remake changed Ariel's personality and added new songs that fans didn't connect with. And now Snow White has become their biggest remake failure yet. The Tangled remake was supposed to cost nearly $500 million. After Snow White bombed, Disney quietly put it on hold indefinitely. Industry insiders say the company is rethinking its whole approach to remakes. TV hosts and internet personalities are talking about Disney's problems too. Many say Disney's biggest mistake is thinking fans will watch anything with their name on it, no matter how different it is from the stories people love. Popular online shows have dedicated hours to analyzing why Disney's remakes are failing. They point out that Disney seems to have forgotten what made their classic movies work in the first place. Timeless themes, memorable songs, and characters that feel real despite being in magical settings.
This thing isn't just a bomb. This thing is weapons-grade nuclear fallout waste. And it will probably destroy the studio. The people who work on this may never work again.
One TV host did a whole segment showing clips of Disney executives and actors promoting these remakes. She pointed out how they often talk more about updating and fixing the originals than about honoring what made them special. This attitude, she argued, shows a lack of respect for the stories that built Disney's reputation. Snow White didn't fail because people don't like women main characters. It failed because it didn't feel like a fairy tale anymore. It felt more like a boring lesson than a magical story. This is the key point many critics have made. Disney has always had strong female characters. Mulan saved China. Elsa built an ice palace with her bare hands. Moana restored the heart of Te Fiti. All these characters were strong without rejecting romance or mocking traditional stories. The problem with the new Snow White wasn't that it had a strong female lead, it was that it seemed embarrassed by the original fairy tale. When movies feel like the creators don't even like the source material, viewers can tell. and they don't want to spend money to be told the stories they love are somehow wrong or outdated. Fans don't mind updates to old stories, but they don't want the magic taken out. When Snow White makes fun of princes and true love, it's not updating the story, it's making a different story with the same name. There's a big difference between refreshing a classic and replacing it. Disney's best remakes have understood this. The 2015 Cinderella added depth to the characters while keeping the heart of the story intact. The 2016 Jungle Book expanded the world while honoring the spirit of the original. But Snow White seemed to reject the original's core ideas, that kindness is strength, that true love is powerful, that good hearts triumph over evil ones. Without these themes, it wasn't really Snow White anymore, just a different movie using the same character names. Disney's approach to Snow White also ignored why fairy tales have lasted for centuries. These stories tap into deep human feelings and experiences. They use magic and fantasy to explore real emotions like love, fear, hope, and courage. When you strip away the fairy tale elements to make them more realistic, you lose the very thing that gives them their power.
Every way that Disney changed the story, it changed it for the worse.
There is trouble. They can't keep churning out trash IP based on some of the greatest IP ever created and hope that audiences are going to keep showing up at the box office.
Seems like the Snow White movie, it is the lowest rated movie, apparently, of pretty much all time.